It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hi, good morning. It's the 3rd of April 2019. It's 2 or 3 minutes past 8 CET time. My name is Piotr and this is a Light Forex YouTube channel. Good morning. Let's start with risk warning, guys, because there is actually risk on is going on right now, brought to you by better than expected Chinese and Australian data. In case of Chinese, we are talking about the PMI. In case of Australia, we are talking about the retail sales. There is a headline from the Financial Times that it's getting better and better in regards to the trade talks in between US and China. That's adding value into this risk on. Of course, the expectations related to the softer Brexit, but that's completely different story. But anyway, it's still possible that it's adding into this risk on situation right now. So before we will jump into the charts, risk warning, guys, please bear in mind trading FX, trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all your initial investment, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. All right, just technical stuff. Our next meeting is today. We are going to cover New York Open. Similar stuff we did yesterday. All right. So that's the first thing. The second thing, what's on the agenda? As I mentioned, better than expected Australian retail sales, better than expected Australian trade balance, better than expected KX in service PMI out of China. Here we get 54.4, where market expectations were 52.3. So overall positive tone, as I mentioned. Also Financial Times and the possible trade deal between US and China is getting closer, but still using the small letters. There are few unresolved things. Still more talks are needed, right? Anyway, positive tone. So where we are ahead of the London Open, PMI in Europe will dominate. So the question for euro dollar, the question is if this time the data can help, right? So let's have a look where we are. Yesterday, based on the daily chart, yesterday we were testing post ECB low based on the close, right? So we took some stops over here. If you remember, I've mentioned that I'm staying tiny long with stop at 82. The low yesterday, 83.7. So I managed to survive this long by 1.7. Anyway, yeah, I'm staying long still. We'll see where we are right now. Even we set the positive tone during the Tokyo session. bulls just made small step. All right, we just got back above 112 and we are fighting right now, blue dotted line, we are fighting right now around the weekly open, right? So yeah, nothing extraordinary yet, to be honest with you, if we are talking about the euro dollar here. Of course, breaking yesterday high, breaking the yesterday open, right? Setting these levels as the first possible demand zone, then today's low in case of long swing low creation, right? So what we are talking about based on the daily, we are talking about yesterday high, in that case 12.15, 12.16, yesterday open 12.12, right? So that's the first possible demand zone. Of course, the round number psychological 12, so around this today's low as another possible demand. What bears we're gonna try to do, all right? Because we know what bulls are gonna try to do. Bulls are fighting around the weekly open. What bears may try to do from this daily perspective? The only chance I can see right now is to create the candle similar to what we've seen Monday or last Friday, right? So yeah, the first part is done, meaning market is trying to go higher, all right? And then the question is what's going to happen during the European and US session, if we are going to create the upper shadow, and then if bears are going to be able to push through the daily open and try to retest yesterday low. It cannot be ruled out, guys, right? Especially what we discussed yesterday from the intraday perspective. There are few stairs or few steps, whatever you want to call it, bulls have to do. So we did two for now, the easiest, right? The first one, it was move back above 112, 12.15. That's happened, right? The second stairs is a move back above weekly open, and it's what we are doing, what the bulls are trying to do right now, fighting around 12.25, right? If we are gonna to look for this breakdown over here, all right, so clearly visible that after this breakdown, so that's some supply. So there are few things: weekly open, possible intraday supply based on what we've seen here. So plenty of things where the bears may try to step in and try to save the day. Anyway, more stops towards Monday high, right? So either we are gonna to, even if bulls are gonna be able to push higher, right? So then what we discussed yesterday, 12.45, 12.55 as a next possible intraday supply zone, right? So the yellow zone over here, okay? And then critical level, in my opinion, critical level above 1250, critical level, this zone around 1280. All right. And if we are going to manage to hit this level and try to consolidate right under during the whole day, then we may try to see the attempt to break higher over the course of the week, right? That's from the bull's perspective. As I mentioned, bears, for sure we are gonna to try to keep the price below weekly open. In case of the break higher, bears may try to regroup and try to attack again around 12.45, 12.55. For now, based on the daily chart, based on what we discussed second ago on a daily chart, where we are from the daily higher time frame perspective, we were testing, let me show you again, we were testing this post ECB low, all right? We are trying to create this swing low over here. So from intraday perspective, I'm gonna to check where was the latest weakness yesterday. It was over here, right? Before we took out some stops. So let's have a look what we have here on a lower time frame. We are talking about this zone over here, right? Let's switch to 15 minutes. Where was the last weakness? Oh, it was much lower. It was over here. But as you can see, after the break higher, it was immediately retested and holds. So what next? I would say that because of this preparation to create swing low, Monday low might be such a good intraday demand, and we are talking about this possible demand over here. So we may try to retest this Tokyo low at some point, especially if the Europe PMI will not deliver, right? So we may see retest of this zone. So trying to summarize euro dollar, in case you are bullish, first possible demand around round number, I'm talking about 1205, 12 psychological level. In case you are bear, there are a few possible supply levels. First one we are testing right now is related to the weekly open. Second zone with possible supply is this over under already created on Monday. We are talking about 1245, 1255, and finally zone around 1280 as another supply. In case of the break to the higher and close above 1280, we may think of saying that something is about to change on euro dollar. All right, so that's how I see the things here. Dollar yen, if you were watching yesterday, you probably know that I've been short into this yellow supply, but what I didn't like yesterday was no rejection here, right? And I had a short. I mentioned that I cut this tiny short by half, right? And at the end of the day, I took it out. So, but still, even we went higher on the dollar yen, the bulls didn't manage to go through 1154. So if I would stay with my short, I would be still on the market, right? I'm going to watch carefully what is going on here. First possible, that's what happened during the Tokyo. We were trying to take out yesterday low, right? So stops to the downside were down, move higher, so we were able to take out the stops to the upside. Still trapped right now in between 1125, 1150, so 25 pips. Nothing extra. Nothing extraordinary yesterday on this dollar yen. We'll see it's going to end up today. In case of positive tone, in case of the yen weakness, we may see attempt to rally towards 112, right? And we have few interesting level zones towards 112, 112.20, okay? But most probably for now it's quite boring, so let's leave it for the afternoon meeting. I mean the dollar yen right now, nothing extraordinary. Okay, USA pound is living on its own. Yeah, we were trying, or different way, bears were trying hardly to push it lower yesterday. Of course, the UK politicians, they love to work late, meaning that usually the news Brexit related, we are getting around this empty zone when there is no liquidity at all. Similar happened yesterday. Maybe we started a little bit earlier. So what happened? Why pound hold the 130 zone. It's because softer stance of Theresa May looks like someone finally was able to tell her what is going on, because from my perspective last few days she didn't know what is going on. Her hard stance that yeah, my deal or no deal. Anyway, so she decided to be a little bit softer. There is a possibility, or there are gonna to be cross-party Brexit talks, right? So she invited Corbyn to have such a conversation. Of course, Corbyn, as a gentleman, he said that he loves the invitation to these talks. But guys, let's think twice, right? If you think that Corbyn is gonna to agree on what May is gonna to propose, you have to think again, right? It's all about the politicians, and in my opinion, Corbyn is gonna to let her maybe I don't want to say politically die, right? So it's all about the politicians. Of course, we still got the chance to retest, based on the optimism, to retest the top of that range. Just a reminder, we are trading within 130, 133 range. For now, we are trying to get back into the mid of that range. Still, if you remember what we were discussing yesterday, still under the line, and still there is a possibility we are gonna to see another attempt to go lower, right? Of course, the lower shadows, weekly open 130 psychological level supporting for now. And if we are going over the course of the day, if we are gonna to get more this, rumors, leaks about the cross-party talks, we may see more spikes on pound side. So let's try to switch to the smaller time frame. Let's have a look where we are. So we were discussing yesterday, the first possible supply was around this 131, right? Then we were discussing possible over under, and at some point it used to work for us for a few minutes over here. One moment. It used to work yesterday for a second with this pullback, right? Then Tokyo, risk on, everything positive. What happened? We took out Monday high, but there is, as you can see, no rush to try to push pound higher. But because of where we are, I do believe that the plan with this attempt to go higher towards 32, 32.15, 32.20 may happen, right? In case of trying to make the third hit to the line connected by these highs, all right? And the price action around here, around 32, 32 plus, it's gonna to tell us what next, most probably, right? So that's how I see the things from the bear's perspective. From the bull's perspective, of course, first possible demand is around 30.90, right? So the trying to connect few dots, we are talking about this zone over here, all right? So that's possible demand zone, taking into the consideration this weakness over here, right, from Friday. That's what we discussed. It's been crossed few times, but then we have to take into the consideration this stop hunting Monday, right? Broke through, retested yesterday, again higher. So first possible demand around 30.80, but you have to be careful trying to trade this level, because we can try to agree on the range over here, smaller range, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say, we are gonna to try to retest yesterday low, for example, to try to build over under based on the Friday price action. I wouldn't say it's not possible, right? So yeah, taking into consideration the range, the first demand around 30.80 is as a half of the range, right? So I would be very careful in that case. So supply towards 32, 32.20, first demand towards 30.80, but again, psychological 30 retest still possible. Aussie, yeah, yesterday, day before, we were discussing Aussie a bit, and especially yesterday also on TradingView, I've mentioned that, okay, there was a little bit dovishness from RBA, but then when the budget been released, immediately checking the details, I've mentioned that it's not the bad, and think market may like it, especially via Australian dollar versus New Zealand and Australian versus Swiss franc, but also looks like versus US dollar. Overall, looks like Aussie is the strongest ahead of the London Open here, right? Okay, so let's have a look what we have on the Aussie side here. For now, we are getting back and retesting weekly open, so cautious is needed here. Of course, once we are gonna to take out the weekly open and we are gonna be able to hold above the weekly open, then if you see what happened today during Tokyo, yesterday late evening, right, it was the stop hunt taking into consideration last week lows, right? So we took out these stops. Nice tweezer bottom over here. So yeah, looks really positive here on this Australian dollar side. So how can we try to join the party here, right? I would be very careful. Of course, we are testing also post RBA supply right now. Okay, I think we have to hold either the zone over here, so we are trying to break out of the range. All right. Eventually, we have to hold this latest weakness, right? So that's where the stop hunt took place. So I'm looking to buy intraday. I'm looking to buy on a dip towards 70.85, 70.75 with very tight stop. All right. That's how I see the things. Of course, we have to be careful from the bullish perspective as we are approaching not only weekly open, I've mentioned a second ago, but from intraday perspective, we are again approaching falling trend line. All right, so cautious here. How does it look from Australian New Zealand perspective? Yeah, after the RBA retest of the mid-range and higher, what I've been thinking about that maybe somehow we are gonna to get lower towards 350. Didn't materialize, unfortunately, right? So we are trying push higher. We hit the level based on the measure from the breakout from the consolidation. It happened for now. So let's have a look from the bigger perspective where we are. And there you go. We know why we saw the rejection yesterday, right? We are talking about this supply based on the combination from the mid of February, 12th February, 13th of February, right? Been tested once, 21st of February, second time next day, 22nd, two upper shadows over here, right? So finally we took out stops yesterday, pullback and trying again. So overall, the green zone, that's also the deep from late March, beginning of April 2018, year ago, right? So once we are gonna to from a higher time frame, once we are gonna to manage to move higher, retest, trying to hold 105, we may see attempt higher, right? Just a reminder, we were discussing this cross yesterday from the higher perspective, and we can say that this is a range in between. Besides this stop count, right, we may say that it's a range in between 103, 112, 113. So we are talking about the 10-figure range. We are at the bottom of that range. If everything is going to set up positively here, that might be also the positive long setup from the higher time frame perspective. And we are talking about the move back. Of course, it's going to take the time towards 110, 112, right? So yeah, I'm gonna to monitor Aussie Kiwi as well. The next one, also I published the chart yesterday on TradingView, Australian dollar versus Swiss franc. Of course, it looks similar to what we discussed on Australian dollar versus US dollar. And if there is a not end of the world, I would prefer to go medium term with Swiss franc here, right? And if you are checking my TradingView chart yesterday, I've mentioned that the dips towards 70, 50, 70 level as a buying opportunity, and we hit yesterday, after I published the chart, we hit yesterday 70.43. There was a little bit lower 70.42 during the Tokyo session, some tiny stop hunting, and we are trying to get back above. Actually here with Swiss franc, we already above the weekly open, right? That's this candle is the weekly open. So more positive here. So if you are trying to choose in between, I think the pullback on Australian dollar versus Swiss franc, as long as we have positive sentiment, as we have this risk on, right, I would say that yeah, the natural choice should be Aussie Swiss franc. So that's how I see the things over here. Euro pound, late yesterday we moved lower. We trying to realize this scenario I've mentioned yesterday. So we hit the stops below Monday low, below Thursday low, and we may try to create this over under trade. As you can see, the lines over here, nothing has changed. So that's how I see the things on Euro pound. Watching 85 level first around the Euro open 85.30. With attempt to move lower 85. So that's how I see the things, and as long as we trying to hold the 85, move back towards 86, and then again higher towards 86.50, trying to take out the stops, yeah, it might happen here. Oil, we had a private API data yesterday, and that's what we get. 1 second. There we go. We are awaiting official EEA release later today. All right. So during our afternoon meeting, what we have here from oil, we were discussing the possibilities yesterday, and just a reminder, we were talking about this first at the very beginning, creation of this possible head and shoulders, but I mentioned that if we are gonna to take into the consideration higher time frame, right, if we are gonna to take into the consideration this possible inverted head and shoulders, so there is a chance we are gonna to see a little bit higher prices, right? That's what happened. And if we switch lower to the lower time frame, taking into the consideration the original range over here, there was a breakout to the upside. We stopped yesterday within the logical level, right? The distance from the original range, right? After the breakout, we took out the same distance, and they were trying to stop over here, and it was the first attempt to create something looks like head and shoulders. So I've mentioned also trying to make another measure of this range, right? And we did it, and suddenly everything is logical here, and the possible target based on this inverted head and shoulders, possible next target based on the breakout from the range, right, bringing us here towards 60, almost 64 based on the chart I'm using here, right? And I've been trying to explain yesterday that because it's the first attempt to create head and shoulders, it may end up we are gonna to have here left shoulder at the end, right, and bigger head and shoulders. So at the top of the next possible target, right, around 64, we may try to create the head. We'll see what we are gonna to get later today during the EEA. It might be that we may see massive manipulation just to hit the target, then we may see the rejection, some kind of the consolidation into the end of the day, into the tomorrow. We will see how it's gonna to work out on the oil side. And finally, let's have a look what we may see on the DAX side. We were discussing DAX for a while yesterday. We were trapped for a moment, right? But looks like there is a pre-market breakout to the upside during the Tokyo session on DAX as well. So what we are talking about? Okay, we are talking about this weakness. We're talking about this swing high, right, from mid of October, all right? Finally, we took it out, but also what we were discussing yesterday on the DAX, that if that's gonna to happen, we may try to create the trend, we may try to connect through the highs, the line, and the third touch of that line, right, is gonna be around 12,000, and around 12,000 we do have this supply based on this breakdown over here, right? So things may get interesting a little bit later today or towards the end of the week. So what we have over here, we have to correct this line, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, so what we have here, I wouldn't be surprised to see, because we are gonna to gap up at the cash open most probably, right? So we may try to push higher, right? Strong move, short covering, pushing, and try to test 11,950, 12,000 right from the start, right? But that's gonna be third touch over here, right? In that case, I wouldn't be surprised that all the buyers are gonna be forced to close their position, right? And I wouldn't be surprised to see the pullback towards 11,700. I know it's a two-figure down, but it may happen over the course of the day or tomorrow. And we have strong possible demand, intraday demand over here, based on what I see here, and here. All right, so that would be nice reaction into the third touch of this line, a reaction within the possible supply, especially that from this supply is created on this being created based on this breakdown, right? And that's gonna be first real test of the supply. Okay, all right guys, that's it from me today, this morning. Wow, pound, look at me. Anyway guys, be careful out there. PMI in Europe, especially PMI services out of UK, might be interesting. Don't be trapped. Just a reminder, within the next few hours at New York Open, we have another meeting. We are going to cover New York session. You are more than welcome to join us later today. That's it. Have a great morning. Take care and see you within the next few hours.